I mean, it feels really good to be back, and I think I'm a lot different than the player I was when I was back in LCS a couple years ago, so really excited to show what I can do now.
Obviously, you play a lot of different stuff, Yone being the champion of choice for this game. We saw a couple bans on that champion already this weekend. Is this just one of those super busted champs, or is this a champion you're personally really attached to?
Well, I think the champ's strong, and I'm also really good at it, so it's good. But I think the enemy's draft was like really bad. Like they self-banned Gnar, so they didn't want to win, so it's all good.
Is this the pick you're taking for the matchup, by the way, or is this more of a like generically good top laner?
I mean, you can pick anything into Gamsu and we do fine. So, I mean, TSM's looking pretty shaky. I mean, Huni's only gonna play like Rumble probably. So, I mean, I don't think all the teams are pretty good right now. I think we're pretty underrated, and I think we'll be top 5 and probably top 3 by the end of the split.
Welcome back to the LCS and the State Farm Analyst Desk. I know we had a pretty baller Blippo interview from earlier today, and he always delivers a great one, but that Dhokla interview from day one is going to be hard to beat, I think, for the rest of the split. Taking to the stage next, 2 of the longest standing orgs in League of Legends history is CLG on one side, is TSM on the other. There is so much history, not just the 10 years in the LCS, but even before that, right? These two organizations, Mark.
North America is built on TSM versus CLG, and you know it's been hard times for a little bit recently for these teams, but this was the original rivalry. Reggie versus Hotshot, then you had Dyrus in there, Double Lift was in there, like all of the original big names of the LCS basically was because of this rivalry. And then TSM, you know, skyrocketed. They started dominating championships. CLG eventually started finding their own. But like we said, hard times recently.
Yeah, these are the standings from last split. And for people that aren't looking at them, 8, CLG at 6 and 12 and 9, TSM at 5-13. One thing that I thought was really interesting from that Dhokla interview that he just did is he's like, you know, people have ranked us really low. I think we can surprise a lot of people. And for him himself coming back, I think already in their first game, he's showcased that he can be a point of pressure and a like potential carry for the team. Yeah,
and 2 things. One thing is, like, the fans are there because of the history for these regions, for these teams, right? It's not that long ago where TSM were at the top. It was honestly just literally last year with their roster.
Won a championship.
Exactly. And then for CLG, I guess that one's a bit of a reach for how long ago it was since they were at the top. But like, still, the history is what got them those fans. And like looking forward, it's the players. Like the players' personality on TSM and CLG, you already heard from Dhokla. Like, you're going to love hearing from Dhokla more during the split. The same could be said about Palafox and Contractz. There are people who have that kind of style and personality. And people have already heard from Spica and Tactical and Huni. So I think these players, hopefully the performance will get much higher. We saw a little bit of it yesterday, but the personality is there.
I definitely think they're not going to finish 8th, 9th again, these two teams. CLG with that win yesterday looked pretty convincing. And TSM, while they lost 100 Thieves, they were controlling for a while there. So I think both teams are starting to look better than their spring form. And as you see behind us up the draft, one thing that Dhokla brings, again, is carry potential.
Oh, you're talking about that side.
You're going to do your
Sorry, I thought we were on the Seraphine.
But that's important, right? Because previously, when we were looking at this team, we were like, okay, Luger is going to carry. He's going to be our hyper carry. Now it seems like they have options.
I mean, both teams, right, on the outside. Again, it's only one day of play, but both teams look immediately better than what they, I think, showed us in spring. But now it becomes a question of how much growth can they achieve in a summer split? Because we obviously know they're not satisfied with 8-9. That's not a question. And we know that they do want to get into that playoff picture and contend for a top 3 Worlds placement, of course, on both sides of the coin. I think really it's just about, is there enough time in summer split for these rosters to achieve that? Do these rosters in and of themselves have that potential, have that ceiling? Can they get there?
Yeah, for CLG, it's like, how does Dhokla come onto the roster and how well do they do? Here, we're going to see some plays in mid lane from TSM. Yesterday, I was actually surprised that Spica and Maple seemed to be pretty well coordinated, and they had some good early plays in this game from TSM before 100 Thieves kind of took over with just a better understanding of where they could make picks.
Yeah, TSM should have won this game. Because they had like such a large lead early on, and there were like 2 major picks. Of course, like Tactical getting picked up on Drake and Maple getting picked off in the top side of the map. That really made it difficult, as you can see in the post-game breakdown. So like you should be a lot more positive, as we already are, I guess, on TSM's performance just based off of how they were able to like take on 100 Thieves. It's just in their first game of the split.
Yeah, and the fact that they have roster swaps coming in,
Yes.
time to adapt against the finalist team, like that's not a shot at TSM. I think that to your question about can they improve, absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's see who will come out on top today, or at least who you think will come out on top today. We're going to do another prediction segment here. I'm definitely most intrigued to see where Raz and Mark are going to go on this one because you guys got called out by the Spica.
Well, Emily should go.
This is how
Emily is going to go first.
I avoid everything
true.
just because of my PTSD around
I like
having to
having
do power
one,
rankings.
non-confrontational
I'm
analyst.
very agreeable.
Only the most lukewarm takes from here. I picked CLG. I think this is going to be really, really close, but I like their cohesiveness. I like the flexibility that they did show in draft yesterday because I do still think that they can always go for a hyper carry in that bot lane, especially if they still want to continue to play Enchanter supports. So that's why I picked them, just because I thought they looked pretty cohesive yesterday.
All right, CLG vote here. Raz, where you going?
Yeah, I have faith in the individual players on TSM. So I have TSM taking
okay.
this one. So
Okay.
like, there it is for me, already looking pretty split. So I'm interested actually to
Mark.
hear more from Mark.
Get in here.
Well, so we ranked both teams pretty low.
Yes, we
but
did.
For CLG, I put them last place. They made like this little care package for me.
Okay.
Oh,
With like
cute.
a custom note
They
in
just
there.
delivered this, by the way,
Yeah,
on their way
I can't
to
open
stage.
it 'cause I'm an idiot. There we go. They had like a
Nice.
note saying,
Is it
even though you
childproof?
ranked us last in your power rankings, we're hoping to flip the script this split.
Yeah.
You know, they're showing kindness even though I doubted them.
Yeah. So
Spica
called for your head.
on the other hand, yeah, Spica asked for me to be fired.
True.
Right.
So I'm leaning CLG. Just if you are curious, I can be bought.
Well,
Thank you, CLG.
There it is.
I think you're going to crush them now.
No bias
man,
on
now
this
we got to
analyst.
come up with what do we want to buy Mark for in the future?
I know,
We'll give that
right?
some thought as we toss over to Pastrytime and Jatt, who are stepping in for CLG versus TSM. Take it away.
Hashtag defend the faith.
Thank you very much. Well, unsurprisingly, Jatt, Mark can be bought.
Yep.
But thankfully, we get to cover these games instead. It is a tale as old as the LCS, which I believe is turning 10 this year.
Yep. It's going to be 10 full years of LCS at
Yes.
the end of this year. We're rounding up towards that. And
Don't worry about it.
There's been countless, you can't count them, but for me, countless CLG versus TSM games. And they mentioned it's like the foundation of the LCS. Like currently, the foundation isn't that good with how these guys did. 9th place and 8th place last split. CLG actually finishing ahead of TSM for the first time in an extremely long time. And this always matters, like not only to the players and the fans, but like even the ownership groups of these teams. Like that rivalry goes back deep.
Yeah, I mean, it precedes the LCS. Back when you were a player, Jatt,
Yeah.
you would constantly lose to these teams.
I don't know about that, actually. I had a short stint where I beat some of them and then I was out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And then now you're here, and we love you for it here. So into draft here. For TSM versus CLG, TSM starting off with an L, although they did get ahead against 100 Thieves yesterday, and CLG with a pretty dominant looking win to start off their split. It is Lucian, Renata, Wukong band on the TSM side, and Rumble taken away there alongside Zeri for CLG.
Yeah, pretty cool. CLG gets their second straight red side game as well. Red side has actually had a good amount of success so far in the LCS, and I do wonder if that type of creativity from ThinkCard and Croissant is going to continue. Yesterday, it was the first pick Senna given over, which is also available this game, and it was an immediate Seraphine lock, which had double Enchantress kind of run over the game for CLG, but TSM not giving that window with a very generic and safe first pick Viego.
Yep, I believe this was Contractz jungler from yesterday as well. Obviously a generically good pick. Both junglers are comfy with, so Spica will happily take it here. It is a possible flex, but it's like a 10% chance to be flexed, I feel like. It's a jungle 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, once the Viego's health regen was lowered, he became pretty much a primary jungler. He had that brief stint of top lane at the start of spring, but interesting here that CLG is willing to blind the Senna, and it would open for Tactical to be able to do the exact same thing, but they're just kind of saying like, hey, actually this was a niche counter we prepared. We don't think TSM is going to be ready with the Seraphine Karma to counter our Senna, and a very early Nidalee lock, what looks to be an answer to Viego. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. I mean, this is actually for both these junglers, this is a pick they reached to a lot in their careers, especially coming up in their solo queue days. Both Contractz and Spica very well versed, and Contractz feeling like this is the kind of matchup where he can maybe bully Viego in the early game and get ahead. Because if you don't get ahead as Nidalee, it's a real bad time.
But I'm just looking, and I'm looking at Games of Legends for Summer Split, which
How many
takes
Nidalees
in.
we got?
This is the Nidalee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's not exactly the consensus pick into Viego, but it's 2 days in a row here where CLG, as a response to the opponent first pick, pulls out a very uncommon champion. So I want to see how this one works out, because yesterday the Seraphine worked great.
Certainly did. As we're counting down here for TSM, Tahm Kench already locked in for Mia. It is going to be Tactical's Jinx at the ready, so plenty of good action in the 2v2. And of course, mid to late game especially can really open up team fights as this great defensive core. CLG though, what do you want to finish off here? Are you going to pop something alongside the Senna, or do you have another pick in mind?
I think right here they're likely just going to match up with the Senna, but the thing that I'm going to be looking more to in this draft is how they get set up for Nidalee. And they're just going to do Senna Seraphine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's back.
So I actually don't hate it. I think yesterday they played it into Senna Tahm Kench, and this is more saying that, one, they think Seraphine is somewhat generically powerful, but two, they just really like double range into Tahm Kench as a support.
Yep.
Which I do tend to agree with. I think it's actually quite strong, as you see, especially with the durability changes making enchanters better. So they got a lot of very healy boys. They have 3 champions right now with heals, so the rest of their team comp is going to have to round out with a lot of damage.
Alrighty, LeBlanc, the ban for CLG here in phase 2, protecting whatever Palafox might want here, but obviously generically good champion. Obviously Maple has quite the history on the pick as well. Yone, get him out of there is the call for TSM. No more Yone for Dhokla.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, when you're TSM, I don't think you will have scrimmed against this at all. Just because both Nidalee and Seraphine at the moment are pretty much absent from the global League of Legends meta. So I think TSM will, they're just throwing bans at what they think might pair well with this, theoretically. And I think TSM themselves are going to go with a fairly generic comp and just hope to be able to win in team fights.
I think the other thing of note, and this was true yesterday as well, but one of the things that people were interested about with Dhokla and Luger is that these are players that, when they're trying to carry, they need resources, right?
Yes.
And you can't really afford to have your resources be pulled from opposite sides of the map. So Luger seems to be happy to play more supportive style picks, whether it's Senna or Seraphine in this game. And with the way this draft is getting set up, we're counter-picking for top lane once again for Dhokla and CLG. I mean, you don't ban 4 mid laners and not take a mid laner, I feel like. So I imagine Palafox is going to blind here, and then Dhokla's going to get whatever he wants versus what TSM shows.
Yeah, there is an opportunity to pick an AD champion both mid and top, since they're going to be having enough magic damage from what is likely a farming Seraphine in the bot lane and a Nidalee. The Twisted Fate is still set up for Nidalee, but right now they are very magic damage heavy.
Yep.
So it does make counter picking for Dhokla a lot more difficult, since he can't pick purely for a matchup. He must take a strong, high damage AD champion.
Yep, certainly imagine that will be the case as TSM rounding out these last few picks. Maple, of course, seen TF plenty of times in his career. Looks like Galio mid going to be the answer for him.
Yeah, trying to get that early pressure. I mean, if any of you watched MSI, which I feel like if you're a League of Legends fan watching Game 4 of the LCS, it's a high chance you saw some MSI games. There were some very good Galios there. And Galio's general ability to push and move can really take over games. Probably throwing the Gwen in here as well for the counter. But basically, it's just telling me TSM isn't just happy scaling for late game. Maple wants to try and accelerate it. Personally, I don't think it's that good into TF mid, because TF can actually get the push early, but we'll see.
That's a throwback there for Poome.
Yeah.
The Yorick. I don't think that's the pick here, though. GP might make sense, seen that a decent amount of times into Gwen, but Dhokla is the kind of player that wants to be very flashy, very aggressive, and as you mentioned, does need an AD champion here, so it is going to be Jayce.
Jayce is a fairly common Dhokla champion. It was one of his big picks in Academy last year when he was on Team Liquid, so it will make CLG very poke heavy, but they have a ton of sustain, so we'll have very different goals in these team comps, because if you look at the TSM side, they are massively outranged.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to find ways to create fights, because they actually don't have what I would consider hard CC. There's like the Viego W if he flashes, or this really slow Tahm Kench engage. So CLG might be able to play at arm's reach. They definitely have the range advantage. So we'll see how this plays out.
And there's kind of two things with poke, right? So one, you need the poke, which obviously they have. Plenty of range between Nidalee, Jayce, and friends. But the other is typically like a way to defend, right? Because typically the way you beat poke is by engaging on it or splitting them up. Now, I know you talked about it a lot yesterday, but let me tell you, if you're trying to sit together in a little bundle and poke people away, you need a defensive tool.
Okay.
Empowered Seraphine W.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Turns out, if you stand together, it heals for a lot more.
Yes.
It actually multiplies for every individual that's in the Seraphine W. I read the tooltip yesterday during the cast. If you're curious and don't want to just read the tooltip yourself, you can go back and listen to me.
And if you would like Jatt to start a podcast where he just reads tooltips of different champions to get you to sleep, add him on Twitter. I'm sure he'll get it done.
Yeah. I will do anything for engagement.
All right, we'll see what happens here. Fourth game of the day. Second of 3 days. And two very old rivals will take to the stage once more. Of course, the teams are quite a bit different from year one, but it's always a treat to see TSM and CLG play as TSM bundled together. Gonna zoom up towards this top half of the river.
And both teams really hoping to start off the summer split with a better trajectory than what happened in spring. TSM, as we've already discussed, was 9th place. Same record as the 10th place Immortals, only 1 game worse than the 8th place CLG, and they did make significant changes. They went into 2022 talking about having somewhat of a development roster, even though in their announcement they said, to be clear, this is not a development roster. Then they kind of talked around it and it was actually a development roster, so they no longer have those development roster players, which was Shenny and Kaido on the LCS team. Instead, they brought in Maple, a decade-long LCS or League of Legends star, winning many titles in the LMS. They've also brought in Mia, who spent actually a long time in the pro game. He played in the LCK, he's also played on LATAM, was kind of found through Champion Q. So 2 roster changes for TSM, definitely opting for more experience. They took what was essentially no experience to probably about 14 years of combined pro experience in those 2 roles. So they're really hoping for more stable games. And then you look at CLG, bringing in Dhokla and now having 2 games in a row where they're running double Enchanter bottom lane. To me, like draft-wise, they are the most exciting team in the LCS so far with the compositions they've decided to play.
Yeah, definitely different looks for both these teams as Huni off to the races early on at level 1. Definitely curious to see how Dhokla's kind of pick works out. He is a player that loves to play for lane, but Gwen is a pretty tough champion, especially in the early levels.
Absolutely. So I don't think Dhokla's going to get too much done early. I think for the most part, they just want to hang on.
It's a big
watch out here.
Luger in trouble. Senna pretty squishy. Poome, of course, also on the Seraphine this go around. Pretty squishy himself. But again, these are the kind of champions, Jatt, where if you don't get them dead, they just keep healing.
True, but they can't really heal that much yet.
At level 1, yeah.
The Senna can heal. Seraphine might take W at level 2 for a little baby heal.
Nice. Look, good trade there from Dhokla. Gonna get the wave most of the way in as well. Gets the ward down, not going to take the recall just yet. Wants to stay in lane and keep things going.
Just to talk a little bit more about the compositions, I do want to see how Contractz' Nidalee plays a little bit more. So in one sense, it's nice because it's, oh, gotta watch this.
Big damage. Luger's still going in. Needs one more order after that, but Luger's low. Mia, though, going in for it. Luger needs to be protected. First blood over to the Tahm Kench, but Poome gets revenge.
So what actually ends up happening is the, quote, carry for CLG gets the kill, whereas the support for TSM gets the kill. So I think that actually neutralizes that first blood bonus and is probably in favor of CLG. I think Seraphine will use that gold a little bit better than Tahm Kench, but a very spicy bot lane start.
Certainly so, as Palafox getting some damage down onto Maple. Level 4 trying to move to help out Contractz. Dhokla as well has the prio, gonna go in onto Huni, and Contractz just fancies a go at the gank in top lane as Spica's right behind him. Contractz lands the spear, maybe gonna go in. They want this crab, but Maple's already here. Palafox though, in for the 2v2, but Mia's the first move from the bottom side. Palafox is gonna go in, but Maple with a beautiful taunt. Finds 2, he's low, but he can't go in just yet. Pala low as well, but Mia once again going on through Viego. Finds the stun, it's Spica gonna get the possession, takes down Pala. Mia falls on the other side, and Luger at level 2 has roamed up from the bottom side of the ramp. But can they do something? Huni now getting chased down. Contractz getting queued. That should be a kill. Easy as he dikes, and Dhokla's gonna pick it up. A mess here in the top lane.
A big time river fight from CLG. Actually almost won a 4v3. Because if we go back to that, Tahm Kench for TSM was there before Senna was there for CLG. And they traded so much damage back over to Maple that it could have gone actually a lot worse for TSM. If Luger doesn't even go and just goes to dominate the bottom lane, then they lose all over the map. But getting the 2 kills onto Jayce with this 5 range huge poke comp is massive.
Yeah, Dhokla going to be happy with how that went. Now has a Dirk and a Tear who's going to start charging up. Still sticking together are CLG. Fought for the first crab, fancy a scuffle for the second. Level 2 Tahm, level 3 Spica. These are not the champions you want to be fighting for. CLG relentless in their invades as Contractz going to take as much of the baby raptors as he can. It's Spica with the smite that takes the big one as CLG fall back.
Yeah, a cheeky soul on the way out for Luger as well. Being able to watch the jungle camps fall. The ones that Contractz was able to steal away. So one other thing that I was going to touch on before all the action popped out was watching what Contractz does in this game, because when Nidalee is really in the meta, it's because a lot of big setup champions are there. That's why Renekton Nidalee is so big, because you just use the Renekton W for the Nidalee Spear. That doesn't exist in this team comp outside of Gold Card. But we're going to have to cut to live, I believe, as Maple has moved top.
Yep, very nice move there. Dhokla, the target, does have the flash. He has to use it. No, actually, just the Thundering Blow's enough, and he goes back for a bit.
Yeah, it's a health trade. They don't get the kill. Maple found the window to move right there. We'll see if it's able to be punished by Huni, but really nice phase rush kicking in there, allowing him to get out. Maple's trying to stick around and apply more pressure.
Yeah, both mids moving a lot, actually, trying to get to the action. There's been quite a lot of it here. 5 kills in almost 5 minutes as we press just past 6.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Some action. CLG versus TSM.
We're going. Contract's up. He's out. Sees Maple, but Dhokla going back in onto Huni, just fancying himself a scrap.
Wow.
1v1 trying to take down this Gwen. Does have the level lead, and Huni gonna have to be a touch careful here.
The items are just so big for him, having the serrated Dirk and the Tear this early.
Incoming dive.
Well, and that's W.
Yeah, but it's not gonna matter. It's melee range Jayce. Contractz takes the tower. A little too much to out of Dhokla. Punished for his hubris as Huni takes him down.
That is the worst for Dhokla. And that, honestly, is something that these players still need to adjust to, because a month and a half ago, that definitely kills. There's a little bit more durability on every champion in the game, and the turrets also hit a lot bit harder. So Dhokla dies faster under turret, Huni doesn't take quite enough damage, and it's actually disaster, because the total gold swing there is not only the 450 that goes over to Huni, it's the denial of the kill, and Huni's ability to get the wave. So all told, I feel like that's about a 1,000 gold swing. So the game is actually still 1,000 gold in the favor of CLG. If that goes the other way, they'd be about 2k up 7 minutes in and then complete control. So that failed dive keeps TSM in the game.
Absolutely. Huni didn't even have to press W that time. Just vibes there as the dive goes slightly awry, and the durability patch keeps Huni safe. As Spica and Mia once again joining up here as Contractz on the blue. Maybe going to take it here. Looks like Palafox isn't going to make it in time. Palafox is level 6 though, as Contractz does indeed take the buff, but TSM are moving into this bottom side of the jungle, maybe looking to start this dragon.
Yeah, and Spica doing a really good job keeping pace ahead of Contractz. Nidalee not able to have as much farm as Viego. Very surprising. He spent a good bit of time hovering and skirmishing rather than just power farming, and as we mentioned, not great setup. So I think this is going to be a difficult game for Nidalee, although maybe his job is just going to be, hey, maybe I'll land some spears once we start grouping, since TSM's engage isn't that big.
Oh, the cleanse!
Oh,
did not line up properly for tactical, and that is going to be a 2v1 kill as Poome emotes to add insult to injury, and Luger grabs the kill.
I gotta watch that again. Tactical cleanse late? Early?
Early, I think. Seraphine is a tricky one.
And they're moving in for the Rift Herald right now. But again, Mia is here, so his movement on Tahm Kench is actually pretty important.
Nice taunt here, but Dhokla actually isolated as a result, has to flash away. Stun lands in onto Maple. Huni, though, fancying a go. 4v3 right now with Dhokla having no health means Rift Herald is going to go TSM's way.
Very narrow escape!
Nice
Twice.
ult.
Durability update keeps alive. I'm only going to mention that for the first week. It's going to just be what League of Legends is like after this. Interesting, though, TSM does move up for the Rift Herald, but it does really sacrifice a lot of gold over to the bottom lane. Now 3 plates down for this Senna Seraphine Enchanter lane.
Oh, look, Mia can't even walk through the choke there. Doesn't really fancy it. Tactical trying to lock him off with the chompers, but Luger and Poome being aggressive, and I love how active Luger is on this Senna. I know that you talked about this yesterday as well, but like souls are all you want really as Senna.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping track of his souls kind of throughout the game. He's at 37 through 9 minutes 30 seconds. Of course, every 20 you'll be upgrading your range just a little bit. Let's watch this one more time. So I mean, Tahm Kench is in River dancing with Nidalee, so it's just flash, and like he does cleanse, but there's just too many people there.
Yeah.
Like, because even if, that's the one thing about cleanse, even if you don't have a perfect cleanse, it still reduces the incoming CC for a little bit afterwards greatly. So you saw he wasn't actually rooted for that long there, but there's just nowhere to go. So overall, just poor place for him to be, regardless of the skill shots and the spell usage.
Yeah, nicely done there on the CLG side. Luger finding the opportunity, re-ganking his own lane. Managing to get a kill there and hand to Poome over a little bit more gold with the assist as Contractz vibing here in mid lane, but nothing going. Palafox has been pretty active, but hasn't used his ulti yet, most notably on the Twisted Fate. So wants to get out of the lane and try and influence the sides, but hasn't really been able to just yet.
Yeah, it would be really nice to see Contractz push out with Palafox here, and then as we have a fight, that's trouble.
That is very troublesome. There's the ulti, actually. Poome commits it all. Spica here as well. Luger, though, firing away, and that damage is just massive.
Yeah, so what I actually want to see happening is if we pull up this minimap, is ideally Twisted Fate can push a little bit, and then they can get control wards here, because that allows Twisted Fate every time he pushes to move, and it stops these guys from being able to push up safely, especially before Tahm Kench is level 6 and before that cleanses back up. But those things are going to be changing really quickly, and it's going to make it harder and harder for TF to be involved.
Yeah. So Maple doing a good job kind of anchoring Palafox here to the mid lane. Again, both these mid laners really want to push and roam. But CLG are at least going to go ahead and start off this dragon. It's actually very late for this first dragon, but CLG will be happy to take it regardless.
Right now, I think CLG is happy about a lot of things.
Yeah.
They would be ecstatic if Dhokla didn't give over the shutdown to Huni, because we'll have to see if Gwen is able to be a menace with the W and team fight. Since there's 5 range people, it's going to be basically impossible to hit during that. Palafox just...
Yeah, I think tried to ulti there.
I think he got interrupted, and now he's dead.
He's dead. There's the center shield, but it's not going to be enough. Spica will claim the kill.
Spica with the big plays for TSM. Kraken Slayer Viego as well. He knows he has to do a lot of big damage there, and it did look like, I mean, that was going to be an attempted gank and probably a kill from Palafox onto Huni. Huni was pretty low in that top lane. And more action.
Luger low, heals. Mia in there, but again, Tahm Kench not that threatening. Jinx ulti is, but those shields keeping them nice and topped off. But also health wasn't that low, so the Herald instead mid lane is going to give Spica that first tower gold, although local gold does go to Maple as a result of the play.
Huge gold swings when TSM is getting these kills. It felt to me like CLG was winning so much of this, but the 2 plays with Dhokla dying in the top lane and their Palafox dying in mid translated massive gold swings. Mid turret going down to Maple actually gives TSM the temporary lead.
And the thing you just said before was Spica making the big plays just like this, that is music to League of Legends fans' ears, especially TSM fans.
On Palafox,
yeah, he's trying to go. Nope.
I don't like it. I don't like that one. He saw Spica on the control ward, still popped his R, and really, like, it's not like he didn't know what he was doing. He gold carded him. Nah, that's a tough one for Palafox.
Yeah, not a window I believe you get as Twisted Fate. Your stun isn't that long. It's not Morgana binding. Everyone relax. It's CLG pressuring down to the bottom side here. Dhokla though in a spot of bother. Spica once again trying to make a play. Huni kicking it up. Flash stun. Job's done. Spica gets another.
Spica with a lot of big plays early on here. The question will be, will it be enough? How will he deal with the Enchanter Ball that is inevitably coming for CLG? But as of now, absolutely keeping them in the game with these ganks and kills.
Yeah, been really nice to watch him work alongside his solo laners. I think he and Maple, even this early, have looked really exciting together. That's a duo we'll be keeping our eyes on throughout the split. But for now, in this game, it's Spica with 3 kills on that Kraken Slayer. He is the reason TSM are currently up a little bit in the total FTX gold advantage. Not much, but it's enough.
Absolutely. The one Mountain Drake, I think, will make this game pretty square. I also really want to track what Maple does throughout this game, because just Predator Galio with Everfrost, like how creative can he be finding angles to engage onto CLG? Because like just overall with team compositions, a lot of times people will say like, oh, you need engage is one thing, or you just need to outrange. And there's a world here where the CLG comp just wins because they hard outrange TSM. And even though CLG doesn't have engage, if neither team has strong engage, the team with longer range will win. And that could be the story here, unless Maple can find creative angles to engage, in which case CLG might have like such squishy champions that they just get obliterated. So that's what I'm going to be tracking as we move more into the teamfight phase.
Yep. Good little siege here though from CLG. Again, Seraphine Senna, very annoying when you're pinned under your turret. Luger, by the way, 65 souls in 15 minutes. As TSM look to make some counterplay here on the top half of the map, but CLG just back away slowly.
And a different mythic purchase for the Seraphine today. We have Poome going Leandries, where there was a Moonstorm purchase yesterday. So definitely trying to get a little bit more damage since they have such an abundance of healing between Senna, Nidalee, and Seraphine.
Spica on this Herald is going to draw the team up. Maple going to check the brush, going to get it down there. Contractz going in. Not sure what the angle is here. This is a 4v2. Luger going to have to fight away, but Spica's low gets devoured by TK. And now CLG going to try and go in. The double goal. Poome finds 2. And Palafox goes in for it. Luger finds a kill with his ulti. And now Maple's a touch too late as Palafox is going to get stunned up, but it's not going to matter. 2 kills for Luger and maybe more on the way for CLG as Palafox is low. But the shields, the heals,
That's
they
unreal.
keep on
That's
coming.
unreal.
Tactical, ridden under the tower. Luger's diving them. Whoop. As the spear goes just a touch wide and Tactical lives for now.
Yeah, for now. He has no... Oh, just go take the side door. Unfortunately, there's a Jayce there.
Hello! Happy Dhokla picks it up, and Tactical does indeed go down.
Easiest kill of Dhokla's season. Not life. I'm sure there's been easier ones. A teleport coming in too. Maybe desperation here by Maple. Double TP, though. They're low.
Huni in, going for the kill. Gwen, not bad, but the stun's good right in the zone. Luger though still firing away. They've got so many heals. Luger's still going. The root is there. The damage is enough to take down Contractz. And Spica here once again possesses Nidalee, dives on in. Dhokla going to be forced to flash, and TSM do get them off the dragon.
I don't know if we're done. I really want to see the replay, but there's still action because TSM is starting the dragon, and it looks like CLG is just going to give it and go to live another day. That whole sequence, aside from the very end, is kind of TSM's disaster and nightmare, where they are there, but they don't have a good engage. So we're going to see here in Rocket Flip the Switch replay how they just can't get to CLG, and then Seraphine and Senna and Nidalee just do so much. Like, it looks like there's just 2 people there, but as soon as Poome is there, the double W speeds them up, heals them. TSM has to kind of turn tail, and the funniest thing about this whole sequence is how this, like, 20% Palafox Twisted Fate acts like he's invincible. Because he just feels like he has so much help, which he does. He has 3 supports with him, and they're able to run him down.
Bottom side gang. Palafox didn't even ulti. And Mia's going to dodge, but he can't dodge forever. Wildcards pick him off as Mia goes down.
Oh, man. Kill the Palafox. Going to be very good for the late game TF scaling, because if they get enough power on TF and the Jayce, it's like the 1 gold card is just going to be a kill when you start layering in the Nidalee Spears, the Jayce Shock Blasts, and even just Senna's ever-increasing range through souls. COG's looking pretty happy right now, and the nice thing for Senna is, like, the thing about the, quote, fasting Senna or the support Senna is just because you're not farming doesn't mean you don't love gold. You actually multiply off gold really well when you have a lot of souls, so getting kills is just so sweet when you're on this fairly low-income support Senna, because you're still great with gold, and your items matter a lot.
Yeah, don't hit the minions, hit the champions, and get the souls. That's the Senna 101, as Luger here is even going to pull the wave in mid and drop it off for himself.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Contractz, just go gobble that thing up. But he wants to make sure he's controlling vision first, as the wave is just sitting there, and there's no immediate thing that CLG has to do on the map, so I don't mind that freeze at all.
And a little play on the top side there. Spica dropped the Herald. They did get a tower down. So all told, CLG up 2,600 gold. Caught 3k or so. So a decent lead. but still going as CLG. We're gonna have to continue to find ways to open up this game. I definitely have eyes on the first Hextech Drake of the game, which will be our Soul.
Yep.
Huni demonstrates this by zipping along the Hex gates.
I also do want to point out, as it looks like TSM will likely take a turret. No, we're going to have a fight.
Everfrost poured on in, beautiful encore, good devour, but Mia's gonna be left for dead, and Tactical can make it out alive. The Chompers, I believe, save his life from Contractz coming on over.
So anytime TSM is showing like 3 people on one side of the map, the like death ball of enchanters will run at someone else with TF stun, and it's been very effective. That's how they're actually creating action, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Palafox again, we liked his productivity early, but didn't see as many ultis. This time now, map's much more open.
Yeah.
Able to make that a lot easier. This mid out is pretty valuable to get. Tactical, you just cannot stand there. Damage is big. Ulti from the Senna is not going to connect the damage portion. And now Dhokla, caught splitting in the top side, is going to get picked off by Spica. And now Huni, my goodness, he's going for it. Maple charging on in. Poome is separated. This is a very easy way to pick off the Seraphine, but Luger's still dancing around as well. Poome's going to fall. It is going to be Spica that will grab that kill. A shutdown to boot there.
Baron's alive too. TSM could completely try and turn this. CLG seeming like they had the entire game in hand, but Dhokla gets picked and they get split in mid lane, and they could be losing control of the game right here.
Contractz up alive. Flash almost available. Sweeper activated. Contractz gonna check, puts a ward in there, knows what's going on, hits the Q. Half out for the Baron. Luger chunking down Huni, but they're going for the kill instead. Luger, what a flash! Gets his way out of there, but they have to kite this fight so perfectly. Teleport in, Mia gets stunned. Everfrost out, but doesn't work for Maple. Flash forced by Contractz as the spear just misses, and TSM disengaged.
Oh no. This game is so swingy, so they have to recall now, and everyone of CLG is just back at full health because they have 3 enchanters on their team, and they're just gonna take the Baron themselves.
So again, Baron damage might not be the high, but Baron sustained very nice here. TP in the back.
Oh boy.
For TSM, CLG think better of this play. Oh goodness, it's so low. They're gonna go for it there. Contractz not able to get in there. The Baron goes over to CLG as Dhokla flashes out. Contractz left for dead. Will be killed by Huni. And CLG are gonna have to try and escape. Poome's low. Luger gonna try and heal him up, and they get 1 kill. Poome's still alive. The Ignite burning down, but Poome is gonna live.
What a ridiculous sequence of events. CLG only loses 1 person in all of that. There's 5 TSM players on Baron. CLG contests 3. Poome narrowly escapes multiple times throughout that sequence. And they come away with the Baron. They will lose this Drake, so we could be in for a long one because the Dragon stacking is going to be very, very slow. But you know what? They're not necessarily giving this up. Palafox is here.
There's no jungler anywhere. Palafox is like, hello.
Hello, Huni.
Gwen's immune. She'll be less immune for a while. Jungler, where are you? Oh, goodness. It's loose, and Tactical picks it up.
But we'll have to check back on this, how important that steal ends up being from Tactical if TSM is able to stay in this game.
Because that's the thing, right? CLG up, 3,500 gold. CLG with the Baron should be able to make good work of the Red Bull Baron here as they're going to take the easy tower in mid. But there's more for them to grab here. Dhokla's going to be in a side lane. The 4-stack's going to be there for CLG. A minute 30 to keep on sieging. This siege comp, by the way, absolutely filthy.
Pretty, like actually very good soul count from Luger as well. He's at 108, 23 minutes in. So he's been able to really maximize his access to souls this game from farming, from being near jungle camps that are farmed, but also just by having a good choice of what waves are there. And we're very lucky, Pastry. This game is so high action. It doesn't look like it should be, but it definitely is.
All right, Palafox gets stunned, gonna have to walk away, flashes out to safety, but the Everfrost from Maple's gonna get it done. Now the Watch is gonna try and protect him. Dhokla over the top! Dawning Shadow's not enough. It's Huni that gets the kill. Maple low, but not dead as Tactical's chasing onto Poome. Once again, they're separated. The enchanters of CLG need to stay together, and they cannot.
Well, Dhokla just wasn't there. He's off there splitting. CLG nearly won a 4v5. I mean, if they win that, the game is over. So it was a little bit of a dare with saying, yeah, we're Seraphine, Senna, Nidalee. Like, come at us, bro. We're going to just heal it up. They nearly return enough damage, but I think the fact that Dhokla wasn't there, and they have so much range and so much poke, if they would have just grouped as 5, I don't think there's any world that TSM could win that fight. So overall, I do think it's a mistake by CLG to be split up there, and TSM capitalized.
Thank you, Treethan. By the way, that tweet is wonderful.
What did it say? I missed it.
Spica is just imagining every CLG player is Moxie. To your point, though, my question is, CLG have shown that, as far as this game is going, their intention is to play Dhokla in the side lane.
Yes, yes.
Is that correct?
Yes and no. So I think, and this is just my observation, looking at CLG's compositions over the last 2 days, they have picked compositions that want to win through grouping. Like, how are you actually going to beat yesterday a team with like Seraphine, Karma in a 5v5? Well, like, okay, how are you going to beat Seraphine, Senna in a 5v5? Well, it would be by splitting normally. So then what they've done is they've given Dhokla a good split push champion. And here they've given Palafox a good champion at punishing split push. So it's like almost trapping TSM into 2 bad choices. So TSM, okay, you can try to split, but TF Jayce will kill you. Oh, you can try and group? Well, then you're going to lose to Seraphine.
Right.
So it's kind of taking advantage of very powerful champion in Seraphine. When you can do it in the right way, it can be really exploitative. And I don't think CLG's executed this well, but I think the theory is quite sound.
Agree. And I think it's cool to see that CLG not only willing to play the champion, but can flex it in both spots in bottom lane. Obviously, when you have a player like Luger, probably give him the marksman, even if it's the support champion.
Very good point.
Dhokla, though, in trouble once again. This is the part of the split they haven't necessarily gotten away with. Dhokla is going to be in trouble. Damage is big. Daunting Shadow will keep him alive long enough, and a double TP actually from CLG. They're going to keep him alive.
Yeah, and it's weird, right? Because you think normally the team with Twisted Fate Jayce would want the map split, but it definitely looks to me like CLG is disadvantaged when the map is split. That's how TSM is finding their opportunities. Spica has enough damage to fatally kill Jayce when he's alone. If you're not grouped up around Seraphine Senna, you're not taking as advantage of the healing as you can. So I'd actually kind of like to see Dhokla more catching and grouping, and then waiting for the next Hextech Drake to come up, waiting for the next Baron to spawn, and actually, I think they're going to win in a 5v5, but weirdly enough, they are getting picked off in these split situations.
Well, about a minute to the 2 objectives you mentioned, so teams are going to reset and regroup. Luger in trouble, and he knows it. And there's Spica going in for the play, barely misses the stun with the slow. Might be good enough. Luger gets tagged by the Jinx ult, but the healing's coming on in, and that's it. You can't kill him now.
Wow, look at that. He's just back to 80% health. Really scary, though. I mean, sticking around likely, just wanting to get a little bit of extra gold before he can get rapid fire cannon, which is going to make him very oppressive, by the way. 125 souls. So with rapid fire cannon complete, I'm going to try and find it here. He's got 720 range.
Right now.
Right now.
That's a lot.
The rapid fire is not complete yet.
Okay.
So it'll be more when he does complete
more
it.
Than 720,
it'll
you
be
say?
150 more.
Okay.
So it'll be an 870 auto attack slow and large amount of damage when he gets it. And that's why they're going to be happy outranging and grouping, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the question, right? And that has been the question, right? Can you get through the range, the long, oppressive range of CLG? Like Tactical, 2 items are working on number 3. He'll do the damage if he can hit the enemy without exploding on the front lines. As Dhokla's going to solo up that Hextech Dragon.
Well, I also think that's why Tactical has gone like Gale Force RFC. By no means would this be the build you would do on Jinx if you're up against Ornn, Sejuani, Trundle, where you need to hit a lot. But it's literally like, how can I get as much fake range as possible? And that's with the Gale Force mobility and the RFC extra range, because Tactical just is unable to hit most people on CLG.
This is the adventure we've been on here. The FTX Gold graph has been up and down, but mostly up for CLG right now. But 4,000 gold at almost 30 minutes. Not a massive lead for CLG to lean on, but it does feel like they're pretty comfy with the way things have gone. Yes, they've been caught a few times, but I think in a 4v4, or as you mentioned, 5v5, CLG are feeling pretty good about their chances.
Yeah, 130 souls now for Luger. This is a game where we could see some pretty ridiculous soul numbers.
I'm excited.
Because it's like 4,000 gold. There's 2 Drakes to 2. We're still 4 minutes away from the next. So the earliest soul we could see would be about 36.5 minutes. I'm looking forward to some redonkulous ranges.
Yeah, Luger does have that RFC now, by the way, so expect people to get chunked from ridiculous distances.
Yeah, it's like who's Palafox going to get with the gold card? And does he have to extend to a point where they're worried about flanks? It doesn't look like it, so they're just really bullying mid lane. And I don't see how TSM ever is the first one to access this wave. So what's going to kind of happen is they're going to be able to push up that mid lane and just move into the river here where they have full vision control. So there's nothing that they can see. And they're just going to keep popping their heads out over and over again until they can find a gold card or a Senna W and hopefully just like one-hit someone on TSM. Very hard map to play for TSM here.
Yep, nice setup as a result. Here for CLG, thank you for
Yeah,
covering that vision because they have to burn the Jinx ult just to see.
So they're trying to buy a little bit of time in the bottom lane here. It's like, well, if we push this up far enough, we'll force them into a decision. So they saw them start the Baron. Now they're teleporting in, and TSM's only hope is to trap them in this pit.
Yep, that's Huni teleporting back around. Maple doesn't quite have the flank just yet. He's a little off to the side. Baron is very low. They're going to get it. And now CLG, can they kite effectively? They are running away. TSM, I don't think you can run through this choke. CLG just yeet the Baron off the rift.
Love it. They don't actually kill Baron that fast. That's like one flaw of this composition. They're very healthy when they do it, but there's a huge fear of being collapsed upon, so they had to make sure the waves are pushed. But Dhokla, you can't get caught like that.
In a 1v2, but it actually does a lot of damage to Spica. Now the teams get reinforced. Luger shuts that down. Maple ults in place after Spica dies, and that's going to be a second little present for CLG.
Okay, I want to re-record that call. Dhokla, he's caught him. He turned it around. He was close enough to the rest of his team.
Genius.
They get 2 kills for it because TSM was trying to capitalize on the play, and now they can really set up that siege with healers and poke.
And now we go back again with the Baron to try and siege, as you mentioned, down the rest of these towers. Inhibitor is available in top side mid as well, missing 2 towers, so bottom lane is the obvious point to pick up your gold because that is the easiest tower off the map to take. But CLG, looking at 1, would love 2 inhibs. You know, unless the game ends, they'll be happy with that too.
Yeah, I want to see where they group. So what they're doing now is they definitely need to. You can't just 5-man group out of nothing. So they want to prep this wave and this wave at the same time, and they're holding 2 people in here so that they can freely move between the jungle and hopefully bounce both of them to get. But I do want to see at least 4 people grouped, probably 5, but that's not what they're going for. Dhokla is going to be a soloist, and it's going to be the other 4-man grouping here, which gives TSM a small window to engage.
TP coming on in from TSM. It's Maple charging on in. Pretty speedy. Palafox snips it out though. Pops the stun. CLG again for the nice disengage, and that buys space for Dhokla to take the easy turret. And now the map is getting ever smaller for TSM.
Yeah, that was nicely done. You could see the engage tried to come off the side. They just moved down the river, and Dhokla had it started. So now they can 5-man group here. There's no way that people can get behind them. I've drawn a lot of lines, but it makes sense because TSM is trapped in their base, and they have no clear way of engaging on CLG.
And now Pala is the one in the 1-4, but he's got the ulti ready to go as well. The poke is absolutely obscene, by the way. And CLG just bully down that turret here in bottom side. The inhibitor is going to be left for dead, and now they rotate over to their mid laner.
Yeah, really, really nicely done here, making sure no one on TSM can get behind them, because if CLG has eye contact, they do not lose.
Yep, again, mid, now dead. 5-4 group, excuse me, Dhokla is going to rejoin the team, though. Maple trying to find the flank angle. Dawn does find 2. Palafox going to get caught up there, but over the top goes the Dawning Shadow, and it's just absurd. It's ridiculous, the healing. Maybe enough though as CLG still cutting out.
Oh no.
And it's heartbreak for TSM as the CLG Fortress will not be broken. And CLG are gonna wipe TSM and take their 2nd victory on the weekend.
Pastrytime, what year is it? CLG with the 2-0 start, taking down TSM yet again, and doing it with style.
Absolutely, CLG gonna dive the fountain. Luger's range is ridiculous. They'll get 1 more kill for the Raiders. Tactical dies. And CLG take their 2nd Nexus of the split.
154 souls for the Senna, but also 2 victories for Big Dokes. Coming back to the LCS stage, a recent promotion by CLG, and a clear style difference for CLG coming into this summer split. 2 different Seraphine players, both effective, both unique as well to the LCS. They also threw out the Nidalee here. They picked no tanks, they picked low engage, but they picked a hell of a lot of healing, and they played it like they fully understood how to win.
Willing to scrap when they needed to, understood the limits of their comp and their champions. Luger's Seraphine looked great yesterday, but I think Poome might be the better Seraphine on CLG.
I think Poome farmed better. I'd have to check it. His CS was really high.
Yeah. A little bit behind Tactical, kind of as expected, as Demonte shrugging his shoulders, feeling happy for the squad. Palafox on the Twisted Fate, playing a nice supportive role as well. And TSM had some moments in there, but it just looked hopeless at points in that game.
Yeah, I do think that the 2 comps that CLG played so far this weekend have been really, really good.
Yeah.
They've found the right angle for Seraphine, even though it has kind of been the same thing twice. But they just, as I said, they have a better 5v5, but then the other team doesn't have the ability to split it up well or engage it. So how much of that would be the CLG draft versus the other TSM draft? I haven't dove in enough to really understand it, but they've had big advantages from the draft in both of these games and deserve both of the victories.
Well, another Turkish king arises as we are now going to join Luger and LeTigress on stage for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, Pastrytime. I've got Luger, a 2-0 start for CLG thus far within summer. Tell me about that game, though, because it was pretty swingy and a bit cray-cray.
We were kind of ahead early game and from bot lane, and like we end up help team, try to like help team, and yeah, we win around like that, and yeah, kind of easy. Yeah.
Got the win in the end. We're seeing some similarities but differences in the drafts from CLG. You had the Seraphine and Karma bot yesterday, Senna and Seraphine today. Can you tell me why you are all going in this direction?
So I think like against Senna, like something like Sona brand Seraphine is something like champion is kind of good against Senna. So yeah, we choose Seraphine against Senna. Yeah, I mean, this game, we pick a Seraphine Senna, right? We pick Seraphine Senna. I say, like, film, I think time to show yourself with the Seraphine this time, because, like, I played yesterday. I think just, yeah, I play Senna. Yeah, he's good.
Good enough to get you player of the game, in fact. So would you say you're feeling pretty comfortable on the picks that you've played thus far?
Yeah, I was really confident like entire game. Like I tried like give my confident team also same time because we were winning team and like same time like you need to kind of explain your team like you're winning hard, you fucking gonna carry, you know the game. So yeah.
Your teammate. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean I was confident. I think kind of is a game for me. Yeah.
I think your teammate yesterday had a similar energy, a lot of confidence, Dhokla coming through. Tell me about what is different with this team, having him in the top lane.
We are, I mean, everyone putting like CLG like templates team. I think like Kester's like ranking like last place team. Like I think give us like good confidence for like people are looking us like bad team. So I think we get the good energy for this. So I think say more like a bad team CLG, and we're gonna show in the match.
One way to get that going and keep that energy high and keep the chance going through and throughout the season is a 3-0 start. It's Golden Guardians that stands in your way of that. What do you think of them? They just won today as well.
GG, what they play, I don't know. I think gonna be probably easy game for us, same as like today. Yeah.
All right.
Good luck.
Lots of fun had by the crowd hearing your answers. Luger, thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
CLG fans rejoice with the start that they have had thus far in this summer split. We're kicking into a break. We've got more gameplay on the other side.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.
Respawning was refreshing. Here's to the round between rounds.
This game is rigged. This game is out to get me.